What if Deku becomes Pokémon Master? Hey everyone, welcome back to Nothing But Anime. I'm thrilled to launch a brand new series here on the channel. What if Deku became Pokémon Master? If you're as excited as I am, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss an epic moment. Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into the third part of the series. What's going? Oh my Arceus, he's dead. Achiko screamed as she saw the old man. I'm alive, the old man said. He suddenly raised his head. He's alive, Izuku and Achiko said simultaneously. That was mean, Mr. Torino, Achiko complained. The two were now sitting down on the old man's couch, while the old man sat down in the chair opposite to them. You youngins don't know how to take a joke, the old man, or rather Sorhiko Torino, Gran Torino, said. Now what do you two want with me? I was told to give you this. Izuku took the letter out of his pocket and gave it to Torino. Torino took the letter and opened it, reading it quietly for a few minutes, before speaking. I see. He then ripped the letter in two. I'm not giving it to you. Izuku and Achiko both shouted out in shock. At least not yet, Torino added, calming the two down a bit. Just because you proved yourself to the champion, doesn't mean you proved yourself to me. Wait, that letter was from All Might? Achiko shouted. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't think you'd believe me. Izuku defended himself. Hey, I was speaking, Torino said, getting their attention once more. As I was saying, I want to know if you are ready for this gift. So I have a task for you. I'll do it, Izuku said. All Might had said he was the right choice for this gift, and if that meant he had to work for it, then that's what he would do. After all, how could he disappoint All Might? Well, aren't you eager? Well then go to the top of and get me a Salic berry, Torino told them. You can take the girl with you for all I care. You might need the help. Has some Pokemon that might be a bit much to handle for beginners. It's gonna be dangerous. Are you sure you're still up to it? Both Izuku and Okiko looked at each other and nodded, their Pokemon looking fired up for the challenge. Well then get going, Torino shooed them. The sooner we get this over with, the sooner I can take a nap. Right? They both said, as they grabbed their things and headed off to. The two made it to the base of the mountain, which had a trail leading up it. So, this is, Izuku said, before looking at Achiko. Are you sure you want to come with me? Of course. We're traveling companions after all. I have to make sure you're okay. Achiko nodded. And I want to see what kind of present you get from the champion. That's fair. I'm really excited about it too, Izuku said, taking a deep breath. Alright, let's go. The two of them walked up the mountain path for a while, until eventually they reached a cliffside, and decided to take a break. Man, this is a big mountain, Izuku noted, taking a moment to catch his breath. Yeah, but we still haven't seen any big dangerous Pokemon, Achiko pointed out. Maybe he was just trying to scare us? Raw! Suddenly, from the side of the cliff, an Ursaring climbed up onto their level and stood up, growling menacingly at them. Why did I open my mouth? Achiko lamented. That Ursaring looks strong. I don't think we can beat it, Izuku analyzed, thinking of ways to get out of this. They could run, but Ursaring was fast enough that it may catch them. He looked at the cliffside the bear Pokemon was standing next to and got an idea. Urarika, please send out Pidove. Oh, okay? Come out Pidove, Achiko said, sending out the bird Pokemon. Pie, Pidove called out. Now I need you to tell Pidove to use Swagger, Izuku asked her. Alright, Pidove use Swagger, Achiko ordered. Pidove raised her beak arrogantly into the sky and glowed red. You are? Ursaring looked confused and suddenly got tipsy, as the confusion status settled in. Now Eevee, run under him. By the cliff, Izuku ordered. Eevee ran past Ursaring under its feet, and behind the much larger Pokemon. Ring! Ursaring staggered as it turned, and raised its claw, as it glowed with white energy. But in its confused state, it was too slow to bring it down. Dodge using Quick Attack, Izuku ordered. Eevee was quickly surrounded in white energy, as she bolted between the Bearmon's legs again, causing Ursaring to overswing, and very nearly fall off the cliff. Just a little more. Eevee used Swift, Izuku commanded. Help out Pidove. Use Gust, Achiko added. Eevee shot out a group of stars at Ursaring. Pidove flapped its wings and sent a blast of strong wind at the larger Pokemon. Ring! Ursaring yelled out, as both attacks hit it at once, sending it flying off the cliffside. Phew! Both trainers took a sigh of relief, before turning to each other. We did it! Achiko raised her hand for a high five, and Izuku tentatively did high five her. Yeah, Izuku cheered. Let's take a few more seconds to rest, and then let's move on. The two continued climbing up the mountain, before deciding to take another break. I'm tired, but I don't want to get ambushed again. Achiko sighed, before looking around, spotting a nearby cave. Hey, maybe if we rest in there we won't get attacked. And with that, Achiko went off running towards the cave. Hey wait, Izuku ran after her. The two went decently deep into the cave until Achiko sat down. Now we'll be fine, Achiko exclaimed. I wouldn't be sure. Lots of Pokémon made their homes in caves, Izuku said nervously. And if a Pokémon comes in from the outside we'll be grav. Both trainers froze, as they looked at the entrance of the cave, and saw a Graveler blocking the only exit, looking very unhappy. Oh come on, Achiko shouted. It still looks strong, but it is 4 times weak to grass. Izuku looked at Chasepin. Come on Chasepin. Cheese. Chasepin jumped out in front and was ready to fight. Use Mudshot, Izuku ordered. Cheese. Chasepin opened its mouth, and bullets made of mud shot out and hit Graveler in the face. Lurr. Graveler grunted as the attack hit it, doing a small bit of damage and lowering its speed. Grav. Graveler raised its arm and slammed it into the ground, causing the ground to shake. Cheese. Chasepin was smacked by the earth rising, causing the grass type to go flying into the ceiling before hitting the floor again. That was magnitude, Izuku shouted out. And magnitude 7 from the looks of it. Togepi, use Life Dew on Chasepin, Achiko said, letting Togepi out of her arms. Pie. Togepi formed a bit of glowing water in her hands and threw it at Chasepin. The water hit Chasepin's head, and a blue glow covered Chasepin as some of his wounds were healed. Cheese. Chasepin jumped back up and was ready to fight. Thanks you two. Chasepin used Mud Shot again, Izuku shouted. Chasepin. Chasepin shot another Mud Shot at Graveler, landing, doing some small damage and lowering its speed again. Grav. Graveler grunted in annoyance, as it raised its arm to use Magnitude again. Not this time. Chasepin used Vine Whip and stopped them, Izuku called. Pin. Vines came out of Chasepin's shoulders and shot out at Graveler, smacking its arm and interrupting its attack, as well as smacking its face and doing some damage because it was 4 times effective. Now use Leech Seed, Izuku followed up. Cheese. Chasepin shot out a group of glowing seeds from its mouth at Graveler. The seeds landed on Graveler, sprouting into little plants that embedded themselves on the rock/ground type. Graveler flinched a bit, as its life force was sapped away by the seeds, flowing away as green energy that went into Chasepin. Now, non-stop Vine Whip, Izuku ordered. Chasepin. Chasepin shouted as it unleashed a barrage of Vine Whip attacks on Graveler. Grav. Graveler was assaulted by 4 times effective attacks, and its life force was drained by Leech Seed. And it was so slow it couldn't get out an attack before Chasepin got out 6. In the end, Graveler knew it was beaten, and so it decided to flee. It curled up into a ball and rolled backward, off the side of the mountain all the way back down. Alright, good job Chasepin, Izuku said, petting the grass type's head. Cheese. Chasepin smiled brightly, as Eevee came down to high-five him. And thanks for the life to you too, Izuku said, turning to Achiko and Togepi. It was nothing. That was amazing though, Achiko praised. That thing must have been 10 times stronger and you two both made it run away. Both Izuku and Chasepin rubbed the back of their heads sheepishly as they received the praise. Well, we're lucky it was ground and rock type. If Vine Whip wasn't 4 times effective and Mud Shot wasn't super effective, we wouldn't have been able to do significant damage. Right, so we should probably get out of this cave before another Pokemon comes, Achiko said. Yeah, Izuku agreed, as the two ran out of the cave and started heading back up the mountain trail. By the way, I never asked before, but what are Togepi's moves? Oh, Togepi knows Metronome, Ancient Power, Life Dew, Baton Pass, and Last Resort, Achiko explained, blushing a bit with embarrassment. I know, not the greatest moveset. No, it's fine, Izuku insisted. They might struggle a bit in single battles, but in double battles that's actually a really good moveset. And for single battles you could always use Pidove. Yeah. Thanks again for that by the way. Achiko repeated her previous thanks. I told you it's fine, Izuku repeated himself. Also, what's Togepi's ability? Serene Grace, Achiko answered. Huh. Serene Grace and Ancient Power. Interesting, Izuku thought out loud. Achiko and Izuku were now even further up the mountain and still walking. Ugh. Why did this mountain have to be so tall? Achiko complained. This reward better be some legendary Pokemon or something. And some Machi. I doubt All Might would just give some kid he just met a legendary Pokemon, Izuku said. And I'll buy you some Machi after we're done, as thanks for helping me. Immediately Achiko perked up and got a determined look in her eyes. Alright, let's get that berry. Izuku laughed a bit at seeing how easy it was to get her fired up when he saw it. The top of the mountain. We're here, Izuku said, as both he and Achiko immediately ran up the path to the mountain's peak. At the peak was flatland where a meadow and a small spring, as well as a plethora of berry trees, and a huge Pangoro sitting standing guard and staring them down. You have to be kidding me. Achiko slouched over, completely done with this mountain. I see the berry. Izuku spotted the berry in a tree, right behind the Pangoro. I hate this stupid mountain. Achiko picked herself back up, with fire in her eyes. Alright, how are we gonna take this thing down? Izuku stared at the Pangoro, who stared back at them, not moving as if daring them to attack first. Alright, our only chance of beating it in a straight fight is by getting a bunch of ancient power boosts, and then baton passing to Pidove. Izuku explained his plan to her. But even with serene grace, that's only a 20% chance per attack. Achiko reminded him. It's our only option. I'll use Chase Spin and try to stall them for as long as I can, while you get the boost, Izuku said. I guess that'll have to do. Achiko nodded. Alright, let's do it. Chase Spin, Togepi. Get ready, Izuku said to the two Pokemon. Chase Spin and Togepi hopped off their respective trainers and ran over to the Pangoro. Pangoro got out of their sitting position and stood up, towering over the two much smaller Pokemon. Alright, Chase Spin used Leech Seed, Izuku ordered. Togepi used Ancient Power. Achiko followed up. Chase Spin spat out a bunch of seeds onto Pangoro, which started to slowly sap away at Pangoro's health. Meanwhile, Togepi summoned floating rocks, surrounded by purple energy, and threw them at Pangoro. Go! Pangoro was hit by the attack, but it did basically nothing to it. But Togepi was surrounded by blue energy, signifying that its power was increased. Alright, first try, Achiko cheered. Don't celebrate too soon. If we're gonna make up for the power difference, we'll need to do that 3 more times. Izuku analyzed. 3 more times? Achiko shouted in shock. Meanwhile, Pangoro's arm glowed with dark brown energy, and it was about to slam it down on Togepi. Chase Spin used Vine Whip and get Togepi out of there, Izuku shouted. Cheese! Vines came out of Chespin's shoulder and grabbed Togepi, getting them out of the way just in time, as Pangoro's attack slammed into the ground, making a mighty thud and breaking up the ground around it, and creating a mighty dust cloud. That would have taken out Togepi in 1 hit, Achiko said fearfully. That was Hammer Arm. Izuku said, it's powerful, but on the bright side it also makes them slower. Speaking of, Chase Spin used Mud Shot. Cheese! Chase Spin shot out a Mud Shot at Pangoro, who took it taking no damage but lowering its speed. Togepi Ancient Power, Achiko called out. Togepi once again unleashed Ancient Power on Pangoro, who took no damage once again. But this time Togepi didn't get the boost. Oh come on, Achiko complained. Pangoro got up and formed a Focus Blast in their hand. Dodge it! Both Achiko and Izuku shouted. Both Pokemon jumped to opposite sides, as the blast came barreling at them, missing them completely. Mud Shot! Izuku shouted. Chase Spin! Chase Spin shot out another Mud Shot at Pangoro, lowering its speed once more. Again, Izuku ordered. Cheese! Chase Spin shot yet another Mud Shot, lowering Pangoro's speed one last time. Rapid Fire! Ancient Power! Achiko said, knowing that Pangoro was now much slower so it would take longer for it to retaliate. Togepi Thai! Togepi unleashed wave after wave of Ancient Power onto Pangoro. First wave, no boost. Second wave, no boost. Third wave, boost. Fourth wave, no boost. Fifth wave, boost. Pangoro, annoyed at getting pelted by rocks, formed a purple goopy ball in their hand and threw it at Togepi. That's Gunk Shot. Chase Spin, get her out of there with Vine Whip, Izuku ordered. Chespin's vines came out and wrapped around Togepi, moving them out of the way. Just in the nick of time. We only need 1 more boost, and we've reduced its speed as much as we could, Izuku analyzed. Chase Spin, we need to distract Pangoro for as long as possible. Get closer, and start using Vine Whip on their face. Cheese! Chase Spin set Togepi down and ran in, closing the gap between him and the massive Pokemon, before slapping it right in the face with its vines. Pan! Pangoro got annoyed at this and used Hammer Arm again, but it was so slow now that Chase Spin was able to jump out of the way just before it hit him, and slap them again. Alright Togepi. 1 more time. Use Ancient Power until you get the power boost, Achiko ordered. Pie! Togepi shouted, unleashing multiple waves of rocks at Pangoro. First wave, no boost. Second wave, no boost. Third wave, no boost. Fourth wave, no boost. Fifth wave, no boost. Sixth wave, no boost. Oh come on! Achiko shouted out in frustration. Togepi was starting to get tired from spamming Ancient Powers, and Chase Spin was getting tired from dodging. And the Pangoro had only taken a bit of damage from Leech Seed, but other than that they were fine. Togepi! Togepi unleashed another Ancient Power at Pangoro, and when it hit, Togepi was enveloped in a blue aura, signifying they had gotten the last boost they needed. Alright, we did it. Okako cheered. Cheese. Chespin looked at Togepi and gave a celebratory fist bump, but this moment left it open, and it was immediately hammer-armed into the dirt. Chespin! Izuku shouted out in panic. Pangoro raised their arm, and under it was a knocked-out Chespin. In one hit, Ochako gasped. I'm not surprised, like we thought it's way stronger than us, Izuku said, as he took out Chespin's Pokeball and returned him into it. You did great, buddy, take a rest. V, your turn. V! Eevee eagerly jumped onto the battlefield, staring maliciously at the Pangoro, ready to avenge their fallen ally. Togepi used Baton Pass, Ochako ordered. Pie! Togepi was covered in blue energy, as she returned to her Pokeball, and Pidove automatically came out. Dove! Pidove came out, and was surrounded by a blue aura as all the status buffs Togepi had was now bestowed onto Pidove. Pidove! Then Pidove glowed red, as Rivoli activated. And Rivalry activated. Now the real battle begins. Izuku smiled, as he knew that they were getting close to winning. Eevee! Support Pidove with helping hand. Eevee ran over to Pidove and Pidove flew down to Eevee. Eevee's paw glowed bright white, and it hit Pidove's wing, causing Pidove to be surrounded by a white aura. Now Pidove use Gust, Ochako ordered. Pidove flew up into the sky. Its wings glowed white as she flapped them. But instead of releasing a strong burst of wind, it unleashed a barrage of saw blades made of wind. Go! Pangoro stumbled backward as the blades hit her, actually taking a decent amount of damage. That was Air Cutter, Izuku explained. Sweet! Ochako had a huge grin on her face, as things were really looking up. Alright, let's finish this up, Izuku said with enthusiasm. Eevee used Helping Hand again. Once again, Pidove came down to give Eevee a high five with her wing, once again having their body glow white with Helping Hand's power. Goro! Pangoro used Gunk Shot again, but Pidove easily dodged it since its speed was many times greater than before. Air Cutter! Ochako shouted. Pie-ya-dove! Pidove unleashed another barrage of razor-sharp air saws at Pangoro, as the Pokemon once again ate a heavily boosted super-effective attack. Go! Pangoro stumbled back, now thoroughly injured from both Pidove's attacks, and Chespin's still lingering Leech Seed. One last time. Eevee used Helping Hand, Izuku shouted. Pidove dove down at Eevee, and Eevee used Helping Hand on Pidove once more, temporarily increasing their power. Now Pidove! Air Cutter! Ochako shouted. Pie! Dove! Pidove put all of its power into this attack, unleashing a powerful air cutter down onto Pangoro. Boom! The attack landed, creating a big explosion, and creating a huge dust cloud. When the dust cloud dispersed, Pangoro was on the ground, knocked out. Alright! Izuku and Ochako shouted at the same time, high-fiving far less awkwardly than last time, as they celebrated another victory. Okay, let's get that berry and get off this mountain, Ochako shouted, happy to get the heck out of here. Right, but first, Izuku took out a Pokeball and looked down at the knocked-out Pangoro. I want to catch her? Suddenly as Izuku was ready to throw the ball, two Panchams came out of some nearby bushes and went in front of the Pangoro, spreading their arms out defensively. Panchams? Oh, those must be her children, Izuku realized sadly. He looked at the Pokeball side and put it back on his belt. Well, I can't catch her now. Ah, that's too bad. Welp, let's get that berry and get out before any more Pokemon come, Ochako said. Aha, this is a Salic berry, alright, Torino said as he inspected the berry. After getting off the mountain and taking a trip to the Pokemon Center, the two went back to Torino's house and were now sitting on his couch, waiting for Torino to show them Izuku's reward. Yeah, and it was really, really hard to get, Ochako said, kind of annoyed that she had to go through all that. Yeah, all those Pokemon there were really strong. If it weren't for Uraraka, I wouldn't have stood a chance, Izuku admitted. I'm surprised you made it even with her help, Torino sighed. But a deal is a deal. Come with me. The two followed the old man into what looked like some kind of Pokemon enclosure, filled with running water like a small river, a few trees and tree stumps as well. But there was only a single Pokemon there. Sitting on a tree stump was a mostly gray bear-like Pokemon. Whoa! I've never seen that Pokemon before, Izuku said, looking at the Pokemon in awe. Cub? The Pokemon was now alerted to their presence, and stood up, and looked at them, looking ready to fight. That's because it's a very rare, legendary Pokemon, named Cubfu, Torino explained. What? Izuku and Ochako exclaimed at the same time. Go on, check your Pokédex, Torino insisted. Izuku then very hurriedly took out his Pokédex and scanned Cubfu. Cubfu, the Wushu Pokemon, the Pokédex said. Note, this Pokemon is listed as a legendary Pokemon. Whoa, the reward actually was a legendary Pokemon, Ochako exclaimed in excitement. So all that hard work was actually worth it. Don't get too excited. For one, its power isn't fully unlocked. Not until it evolves. Torino explained. Until then its power wasn't exactly legendary. And besides, you don't have it yet, Sonny. After all, you still need to catch it. Izuku looked at the Kubfu, at a complete loss of words for a minute, before giving it a look of pure determination. Alright, let's go. Kubfu and Chasebin glared at each other, ready to fight in the Pokémon enclosure. Since Eevee was a normal type, Izuku thought that Chasebin would be better for this battle. Alright, let the battle begin. Torino shouted. Kubfu charged up a powerful attack with its fist, cocking it back ready to unleash it on Chasebin. Phew, that looks like dynamic punch. Dodge it, Chasebin, Izuku shouted. Kubfu lunged at Chasebin, but Chasebin easily jumped out of the way, dodging the attack. Now use Mud Shot, Izuku ordered. Chasebin opened his mouth and unleashed a close-ranged mud shot right in Kubfu's face, causing it to slide back a few feet as he dug his feet into the dirt, and his speed lowered. Alright, now follow up with Vine Whip, Izuku commanded. Cheese! Chasebin's vines came out and went to slap Kubfu, but Kubfu was suddenly covered in a red aura, and took the attack head-on, flinching a bit at the pain, before rushing forward and punching Chasebin away. Pin! Chasebin went flying from the force of the impact, landing on its back a few feet away. That was counter. Izuku realized he had to be a bit more careful with moves like Bite and Vine Whip. Chasebin used Leech Seed. Chasebin got up and opened its mouth, shooting out glowing seeds. Kubfu dodged to the side, avoiding the attack before its arms and legs glowed sky blue, and it charged at Chasebin with great speed, smashing it on the head. Cheese! Chasebin cried out in pain, as his head now had a nasty bruise. Aerial Ace. Izuku grit his teeth. Chasebin used Bite. Chasebin brought his head forward and bit down on Kubfu's side. Now use Leech Seed, Izuku ordered. While still holding on to Kubfu in his mouth, Chasebin shot out Leech Seed point blank. The seeds embed themselves into Kubfu's skin, slowly draining its life force and giving it to Chasebin. Kubfu charged up another dynamic punch, and at this rank it wouldn't miss. Chasebin used Vine Whip and throw it away, Izuku commanded. Cheese! Before Kubfu could finish charging its attack, Chasebin released it from its jaw and used its vines to throw Kubfu a couple yards away. Kubfu canceled Dynamic Punch and got up, its arms glowing sky blue once more as it got ready to use Aerial Ace. Not again. Chasebin used Mud Shot, Izuku shouted. Pin! Chasebin opened its mouth and shot out mud bullets at Kubfu as it was charging at Chasebin, getting hit in the face, interrupting the attack and causing Kubfu to stagger and its speed to lower. Alright, Chasebin, with its speed lowered, we should have a much easier time, Izuku said. Kubfu heard that and seemed to realize the situation it was in, and so it charged up a dynamic punch when it was nowhere near Chasebin. Izuku looked confused. What is it dash? Fu! Kubfu then punched the ground, all that power causing it to shake and tremble, causing Chasebin to lose its footing and trip. This was seemingly what Kubfu was waiting for, as he jumped up into the air and charged up a dynamic punch. Chasebin was caught off guard, and he couldn't get to his feet and run away fast enough. Izuku was stunned at this sudden display of tactics, and couldn't give out any orders in time. But as Kubfu's powerful dynamic punch was coming down on him, Chasebin felt the need to at least fight back. Chasebin cocked its own fist back, and felt a deep, fearsome power, as his arm glowed bright green. Cheese! Pin! The two glowing fists collided, making a big explosion of force, and kicking up dust everywhere. When the dust died down, Chasebin was heavily damaged and confused, but Kubfu was knocked a few feet away, and was completely unconscious. I won! Izuku hurriedly pulled out a Pokeball and threw it at the unconscious legendary. The ball hit, sucking Kubfu into it before falling onto the ground. BRRP, BRRP, BRRP. Ding! I did it! I caught a legendary! Izuku shouted at the top of his lungs, running over to grab both Chasebin and the Pokeball containing his new Pokemon. We did it! Cheese! Chespin said, his head bobbing around, as it was still confused. Oh right, I'll let you recover in your Pokeball, Izuku said, putting Chasebin back in his Pokeball. You really did it, Midoriya. Congratulations, Ochako said, celebrating this momentous occasion with Izuku. But what was that last move Chasebin used? That was Wood Hammer, I think, Izuku said. He must have just learned it. Well, wasn't that lucky, Torino said. If he hadn't learned that move when he did, you might have found the battle quite unwinnable. Yeah, a good dynamic punch can change the course of a battle. It's hard to hit, but it's powerful and causes confusion. So if it wasn't for Chasebin learning Wood Hammer, I probably would have lost. Izuku nodded in agreement. I'll have to do better in the future. That's right, you will. Torino huffed. With that kind of skill, it's a wonder you made it up and down the mountain. Well, hopefully we have enough skill to get past this city's gym leader, Izuku said. Torino snorted in amusement. Boy, this city is home to the 8th gym leader. Do you even have a single badge? Oh, well, it's a good thing we didn't go there first. We'd have gotten destroyed. Achiko gave an awkward laugh as she imagined how embarrassing that would be. The first gym leader is in Geonosis City, just after Route 2. Torino explained. Now get. I'm tired. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, Izuku said as he and Achiko were practically pushed out of the house by the tiny old man. Once they were outside, the two looked at each other and wondered what they should do next. Machi. Achiko felt kind of bad for asking considering how much he helped her, but considering she just did him a major favor, she felt a bit more comfortable asking. Izuku smiled brightly, and far more confidently than he ever had before. Of course, so maybe he splurged a bit. Who could blame him? He was excited. The two trainers were sitting at a cafe, eating mochi, while their Pokémon all enjoyed some poffins nearby. Achiko practically melted in her seat, with a look of pure bliss on her face. This is the best. At this rate, I'll never pay off my debt to you. I think you've more than paid off that debt. Not that I was holding you to it anyway, Izuku told her. Without you, I would have never beat that Pang Oro. I mean, in theory you could have just lowered its speed like you did, and then used Leech Seed to lower its health until it passed out. Achiko speculated. Yeah, that probably would have been the best option I could have done all by myself. But even then I doubt it would have worked, Izuku retorted. That thing took 3 air cutters that were super effective, boosted by 4 ancient power boost by the 25% rivalry boost, and was being boosted by Helping Hand, which boosts the power of its next attack by 50%. It would have taken me hours to wait for Leech Seed to drain it that much, and I doubt Eevee and Chasebin had that much stamina or could dodge for that long. Yeah, I doubt I could do something like that either. Achiko giggled as she imagined how impossible that sounded. But we make a super great team. Yeah, I don't think there is a single Pokémon that can beat the two of us together, Izuku said confidently. All their Pokémon cheered at that, except Kubfu, who was new and thus didn't have the same enthusiasm. Speaking of the Pokémon, Pidove was now trying to snuggle up to Kubfu, who was very, very confused, while Chasebin was giving them a look that said, "Thank Arceus, it isn't me," and Eevee just rolled their eyes. Togepi came over and offered their Poffin to Chasebin, as if asking him to try a different flavor, and so Chasebin offered its flavor of Poffin to them. So, should we head to Route 2 tonight and look for somewhere to camp, or should we stay at the Pokémon Center tonight? Achiko asked him. I think we should stay at the Pokémon Center, Izuku said. It's getting late, and we've both had a pretty exhausting day. And besides, who knows what dangers could lurk at night? Meanwhile, in the streets of Geonosis, the first gym leader, Tensei Ida, was looking around for something, or rather, someone. Man, those reports better not have been fake, the gym leader muttered. They're not, said a voice from above. Tensei immediately turned his head upward and saw a man standing on a lamppost, in a Team Plasma uniform, with the hood down, and his black hair flowing in the wind. The man jumped down and glared at Tensei intensely. So, that's some kind of weird cosplay? Tensei asked him, not at all fazed. Because if I recall, Team Plasma disbanded years ago, and Getsus is dash. I do not follow that devil. The man spat. I am loyal only to our king. Oh, your first-generation Team Plasma. The ones that actually believed in all that releasing Pokémon for their own sake thing, Tensei realized. Didn't you guys learn your lesson or something? Those fools who stayed behind. They do not see how Pokémon suffer. The man said. Perhaps under the care of certain trainers, Pokémon can flourish. But some must be liberated from the hands of gray and abusive trainers. That I agree with, Tensei said. So what do you want exact? I am here, because my king is here, the man said, interrupting him. Tensei gave him a confused look. Your king? You mean N? Yes, the true king of Team Plasma, and the one who ended that pathetic man Getsus. The man went on. He is here, and you will tell me where he is. Okay. Why on earth would I know where N is? Tensei asked him. I didn't even know he was in this region? I doubt anyone does. That guy is elusive. The man gave him a displeased growl and then turned away. Humph. Well, then we have nothing to discuss. That's not quite true, Tensei said. Earlier I got reports that a man in a Team Plasma uniform attacked and brutally injured a man, and I haven't seen anyone else wear a Team Plasma uniform around here. That man kicked his Joltik after he lost a battle. He deserved what happened to him, the man said. Okay, releasing someone else's Pokémon, I understand that. Still illegal to do without a permit. But I understand, Tensei said, before giving the man a serious look. But you nearly killed a man, and for that I can't let you run free. Tensei then took out a Pokeball and released his Durant. The man paused and turned to look at Tensei. You think that scum should have been let go? I don't think you should have almost killed him, no, Tensei answered. I hate Pokemon abusers. But that was a step too far. Humph, fine. Then you can share his fate. The man took out a Pokeball and released a Togekiss. My name is Kaizome Akaguro, Stain, and you will regret this encounter. Okay, this part fairy type, so I should be able to go against it fairly well. Tensei thought. Tailwind, Kaizome ordered. Kiss. Togekiss flapped their wings that were glowing bright white, and wind started blowing from behind them. Durant used flash cannon. Tensei orders. Durant. A ball of metal gray energy formed in Durant's mouth before firing at Togekiss. Dodge it, Kaizome ordered, and then use Thunder Wave. Togekiss easily dodged Durant's attack before getting closer and firing off an electric wave that hit Durant. Durant winced as electricity crackled around it, signifying that it now had the paralysis status. Okay, tailwind and paralysis. This could be annoying. Tensei grit his teeth as he planned on how to take down Togekiss. Now use Attract, Kaizome ordered. Oh, come on, Tensei shouted. Durant used Dig to dodge it. Durant tried to move, but the paralysis kicked in, making it unable to follow to command, while Togekiss shot out hearts that surrounded Durant before hitting it, causing hearts to appear in Durant's eyes. Now use Sweet Kiss, Kaizome followed up. I hate you, Tensei deadpanned. Durant, when it gets close, use Metal Claw. Unfortunately, while under the spell of Attract, Durant didn't comply, and so Togekiss just went down and kissed Durant on the head. Rant, Durant said happily, even though it was now confused. Now just keep using Air Slash till it faints, Kaizome ordered. You are the scum of the earth, Tensei shouted. Togekiss flew into the air and rained air slashes down onto Durant, and was completely and utterly helpless to do anything but just stand there and take it. Until eventually it fainted. Alright, that was some bullshit. Tensei didn't like to curse, but if there was ever a time, it was now. But that's not gonna happen again. Come out, Klinklang. Clink. The gear Pokemon came out, ready to battle. Alright, since it's electric it can't be paralyzed, and since its gender is unknown, no more attract shenanigans. Tensei thought. Now use Autotomize. Clang. The gear Pokemon's gears started turning rapidly, as the Pokemon got both lighter and faster. Use Swagger, Kaizome commanded. Kiss. Togekiss lifted its head up arrogantly, causing Klinklang to glow red as its attack stat increased, but it became confused. Of course you know that move, Tensei muttered bitterly. Klinklang, use Electric Terrain. Clang. Fortunately, Klinklang managed to break through the confusion and sent out a surge of electric energy around them, encompassing the battlefield in an electric yellow color. Encore, Kaizome ordered. Suddenly, a light from above came down on Klinklang, forcing it to repeat its previous move, in this case Electric Terrain, which since it was already up would do nothing. Now use Air Slash on repeat, Kaizome ordered. Once again, Kaizome unleashed a barrage of air slashes, and poor Klinklang could do nothing. Most of the time it just flinched, but when it didn't it would either just fail to use Electric Terrain, or get confused until it was knocked out. TCH. Tensei was extremely annoyed, but now he had a plan. He returned Klinklang, and sent out his next Pokemon. Come out, Togedemaru. Togedemaru shouted out happily, as it was pumped up and ready to fight. Attract, Kaizome ordered. Agility, Tensei shouted. Togekiss shot out hearts at Togedemaru, but Togedemaru was encompassed in blue light, and dodged the attack, as his speed increased. Alright, now use Thunderbolt, Tensei shouted. Demaru, Togedemaru shouted as he unleashed a bolt of lighting at Togekiss. Kaiasis, Togekiss cried out in pain as it was hit with a super effective move that was also enhanced by the terrain. Once the attack was finished, Togekiss's body crackled with electricity, signifying that it was now paralyzed. Ha! Take that, Tensei shouted. How do you like it? Humph, don't celebrate yet. Kaizome returned Togekiss, switching her out for a new Pokemon. Bisharp, come out. Sharp, the bladed Pokemon came out, blades drawn and ready to slice. Use Mean Look, Kaizome ordered. Bye. Bisharp's eyes glowed bright red, keeping Tensei from being able to switch Pokemon. He must think that Togedemaru is a threat. Tensei analyzed. Alright, Togedemaru use Agility. Taunt, Kaizome ordered. Right before Togedemaru could use Agility, Bisharp taunted him with his finger, urging him to attack, disabling any non-attacking moves. Roo, Togedemaru growled in anger. Alrighty then. Togedemaru lay out some electrowebs, Tensei ordered. Maru, Togedemaru shot webs made of electricity all over the battlefield, limiting Bisharp's movement options. Bisharp, use Scary Face, Kaizome ordered. Sharp, Bisharp's face glowed red, as Togedemaru's speed lowered by 1 stage. Thunderbolt, Tensei ordered. Togedemaru charged up to shoot a lightning bolt at Bisharp, who would have a hard time dodging with all those electrowebs all over the place. Bisharp, get into the air, and use air slash on the webs, Kaizome commanded. Bye. Bisharp jumped up dodging the thunderbolt before the blades on its arm glowed, and it shot out an air slash at the electrowebs destroying them. Gotcha. Togedemaru used discharge. Tensei shouted. D. Maru. Togedemaru quickly unleashed an explosion of electricity, and since Bisharp was still in the air, it had no chance of dodging. Sharp. Bisharp shouted out in pain, as it was shocked by the discharge, and knocked to the ground. Tsh torment, Kaizome said. Sharp. Bisharp jumped back up, and its body glowed red. Sharp. Maru. Togedemaru shouted back. Alrighty then. Togedemaru used Electro Ball, Tensei said. Togedemaru raised his tail, and at the tip, a ball of electricity formed, before it was shot out at Bisharp. The ball was coming at Bisharp fast, and dodging might not be an option. Kaizome orders. Bisharp. The blades on Bisharp's arms grew, and glowed white, as Bisharp slashed the attack in half. Now Thunderbolt, Tensei ordered. Togedemaru shot out a lightning bolt at Bisharp, who was still recovering from its swing at the Electro Ball, and Bisharp was shocked by the attack. Sharp. Bisharp once again cried out in pain, before it dropped to one knee. After that, the electric terrain faded, and Stain's tailwind subsided. Now agility, Tensei ordered, figuring that the taunt would have worn off by now. Togedemaru started running around in a circle, its body being covered in a blue energy, as its speed increased by 2 stages. Swords dance, Kaizome ordered. Bisharp struck its blades together in a particular fashion, increasing his attack by 2 stages. Now use Electro Ball, Tensei shouted. Togedemaru shot out a ball of electricity, this time going even faster. Use Night Slash. Bisharp's arm blades grew and glowed black as it charged forward to cut the ball in half. But since Togedemaru's speed was higher, that meant the power of Electro Ball was also higher. Bisharp was struggling a bit to cut it. Zin Zap, Tensei followed up. Demaru. Togedemaru curled up in a ball and was surrounded with electricity, before he charged forward, at Bisharp. The shorter Pokémon smacked into Bisharp's legs, causing it to lose its battle with the Electro Ball, and take a direct hit. Sharp, Bisharp cried out. Togedemaru uncurled after it reached the other side, and turned back towards Bisharp. Bisharp tried to get up, but it flinched. Now use Thunderbolt, Tensei shouted out enthusiastically. Demaru. Togedemaru shot out one more Thunderbolt. The attack landed, hitting Bisharp, causing a small explosion. When the smoke cleared, Bisharp was on the ground, knocked out. Grr. Kaizome grits his teeth, as he returned his Pokémon, before taking out a strange-looking Pokeball. Well, I suppose now would be a good time to test the power of this thing? Tensei repeated with a confused expression. Humph. Come out, Kartana, Kaizome said. Out of the strange Pokeball was a small, paper-like Pokémon, looking like it was made out of origami. What on earth is that? Tensei took out his old Pokédex and attempted to scan it. Pokémon unknown, the Pokédex said. What? An unknown Pokémon? Tensei shouted out in surprise, before shaking his head, and looking back up towards the battle. Doesn't matter. We'll figure out what this is when I take you down. Now use Zin Zap. Togedemaru rolled back up into an eclectic ball and charged at Kartana. Detect, and then Sacred Sword, Kaizome ordered. There was a glint in Kartana's eye before it dodged over Togedemaru, its arm glowing, and then it slashed Togedemaru. Togedemaru was sent flying, that single attack doing way too much damage, even for a super effective move. What? Tensei was shocked by how hurt Togedemaru seemed by that attack. It was abnormal. What kind of power does that thing have? Aerial Ace, Kaizome ordered. The Kartana glowed blue, before moving at marvelous speeds towards the still-down Togedemaru, and slashing them. Togedemaru said weakly, as they were knocked away once more, and fainted when they hit the ground. How did? It's so strong, Tensei said. No, I have to keep a cool head. Togedemaru, come back. Now come out, Aegislash. Tensei switched out the electric steel type for his ghost steel type, Aegislash. Slash! Aegislash cried as it came out. Humph, I need to look out for King's Shield, Kaizome said. Use double team. Car. Suddenly Aegislash was surrounded by clones of Kartana. Damn it, use Autotomize, Tensei ordered. Aegislash's blade tip hit the ground, as it grinded itself across the floor, reducing its weight and increasing its speed by 2 stages. Night Slash, Kaizome ordered. The many clones of Kartana's arm glowed with dark energy, and they converged on Aegislash. Now use Aerial Ace, Tensei shouted. Aegislash shifted into its attacking form, as its blade glowed bright blue, and it spun around in a circle very quickly, destroying all the Kartana clones, until its blade clashed with the real Kartana. Ha! Gotcha! Tensei said before he saw something that quickly destroyed his excitement. Kartana immediately overpowered Aegislash, hitting the attack, winning over and hitting Aegislash, knocking it aside. Aegislash croaked as it fainted, getting taken out in one hit. Damn, that thing is strong. Tensei was now extremely nervous. He had to take this thing down. Aegislash return. Come out, Sizer. Tensei sent out his signature Pokemon a bit early, but he needed to take out this thing immediately. Zor. Sizer's claws were sharp and ready for action. Double team, Tensei ordered. Zor, 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 Zor. An army of Sizer clones appeared in front of Kartana, glaring at the thing menacingly. Now use agility, Tensei ordered. Tailwind, Kaizome countered, while the Sizer clones ran around Kartana, increasing their speed 2 stages, while a wind blew behind Kartana, increasing their speed. Now Swords Dance, Tensei ordered, hoping that Kaizome would hold off on attacking because of the clones. He was wrong. Solar Blade, Kaizome ordered. Oh no, Tensei said, but it was too late. Sizer was already using Sword Dance, while Kartana was busy charging up energy. Tan. Katana's arm turned into a massive energy blade, and it was about to sweep through Sizer and all its clones. Jump, Tensei ordered. The real Sizer managed to go up into the sky, but the solar blade swept through all the clones, destroying them. Bullet punch, Tensei shouted. Sizer's claw was surrounded in a steel aura. Detect, Kaizome shouted. But it was too late. By the time Kartana could even start using the move, Sizer was already slamming its claw into its tiny paper body. Kartana shouted. Its tiny body was knocked back. Keep using bullet punch, Tensei shouted. Sizer. Zor, Zor, Zor. Sizer rapidly attacked Kartana, using the power of bullet punch along with its boosted speed to get in as many attacks as possible. Detect, Kaizome shouted. Use quick attack to get away, Tensei shouted. Kartana used detect, dodging the last bullet punch, but before it could counterattack, Sizer was surrounded in a white aura, as it dashed back with immense speed. Aerial Ace, Kaizome shouted. Kartana's arm glowed blue, and it charged towards Sizer with that same speed. Keep using quick attack to dodge, Tensei shouted. Sizer was coated in a white aura once more, dodging Kartana as the tiny Pokemon chased them. Air Slash, Kaizome shouted. As Kartana was chasing Sizer, it suddenly shot a slash of sharp air at them, hitting Sizer dead on. Zor! Sizer cried out in pain as it got hit by the attack. Now finish it, Night Slash, Kaizome ordered. Kartana's blade glowed, turning black, as it charged towards Sizer. Dodge it, Tensei shouted. Sizer tried to move, but it flinched. Kartana's attack landed, knocking Sizer away and onto the ground, knocked out. Damn it! Tensei knew that battle was most likely lost at this point. With his ace defeated, and him only have 1 Pokemon left, even if he took down this Pokemon, he'd have to take down 4 more. But even then, he had to at least try. Sizer return. Tensei swapped to his last Pokemon. Come out, Dugtrio. Doug! The triple mole Pokemon came out, waving its blonde hair around as it got ready to fight. Humph, pointless, Kaizome huffed. Kartana use Aerial Ace. Sucker Punch, Tensei ordered. Just as Kartana was about to attack, Dugtrio popped under the ground, before popping out, and instantly hitting Kartana. Kartana grunted as they were thrown back. At the very least, it was clear all those attacks did a number on it, just a few more good hits and they would fall. And so that may have caused Tensei to get a bit greedy. Stone Edge, Tensei shouted. Suddenly, the ground under Kartana became sharp rocks, ready to rocket up and hit them. Detect and then Air Slash, Kaizome ordered. As the stones flew up at Kartana, the tiny Pokemon dodged each razor-sharp stone, before hovering up and shooting an Air Slash at Dugtrio. Try! Dugtrio shouted in pain as it got hit, and it flinched. Oh come on! Tensei cursed his terrible, terrible luck. Finish it! Sacred Sword! Kaizome shouted. Kartana charged forward, its blade arm glowing. The attack landed, knocking Dugtrio unconscious. And with that, Tensei had lost the battle. Damn it! Tensei cursed, as he looked down at his fainted Pokemon. And then he looked up, and Kartana was floating menacingly in front of him. The last thing Tensei felt before losing consciousness was a sharp pain. Third 2 is now complete. Be sure to watch the previous parts in the playlist if you haven't already. Don't forget to support the author for their hard work. I'll return soon. Thank you all for your continued support.